The Wonder Woman game has reportedly been rebooted and is years away yet.
Mm.
Michael Jordan Miller over VGC. Wonder Woman, which is being developed by Monolith Productions, will use the Nemesis system. It is back, Michael.
Nice.
It is a fantastic system that Warner Brothers themselves actually had patents so that nobody else could use it. It is a heartbreak to the industry. It's one of the most well hidden gems from Shadows of Mordor. Did you ever play those games back in the day?
I did. I remember the system well. No, you're right. This is good news to start, Drew. Good news to start.
Yes. Bad news coming up. Get ready. The Nemesis system from their acclaimed pair of Lord of the Rings titles released during the last generation. The game was announced in 2021 at the Game Awards. Since then, nothing has been shown from the project. Now, according to Bloomberg, the project was rebooted last year and has switched directors. Quote, one of the company's biggest bets in development, a video game based on Wonder Woman, has struggled to coalesce accordingly to people familiar with the project. Earlier last year, it was rebooted and switched directors. The game has already cost more than $100 million, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing the non-public information, and is still years away from release, if it ever makes it to market. End quote. Elsewhere in the report, it's claimed that both Harry Potter, Quidditch Champions, and Multiverses flopped last week. Warner Brothers announced that the development of Multiverses is coming to an end. No surprise there. It also claimed that Rocksteady Studios is working on a single-player Batman game. Warner Brothers game division has faced several issues in recent years with high-profile failures, despite banking on Warner Brothers' biggest franchise. Quote, according to interviews with 24 current and former Warner Brothers employees, a lack of a strong, cohesive vision during Haddad's reign, a tumultuous period in which Warner Brothers struggled through multiple reorganizations, led to years of ineffectual trend chasing and wasted development time. End quote. Reads the report. Last quote. Quote, along the way, once revered studios under the Warner Brothers umbrella have taken reputational hits, lost key staff members, and burned through hundreds of millions of dollars. Michael, where do we even begin?
It's crazy that Warner Brothers has absolutely, tanked. One of the, worst few years for a franchise that I can remember. And I don't know if this game is going to turn things around, Drew. I'm going to be honest. Wonder Woman is iconic franchise, but again, we saw Multiverses had a great start, flopped. Harry Potter, Quidditch Champions, flopped. They already have these iconic franchises that are not hitting. Yes, they have the Nemesis system, which might be their biggest boon, Drew. But also, let's look at the fact, right? 3 years in development, we saw nothing. Now we had to switch gears, so we're basically starting over again. So are we 3 years away from seeing anything again? Is this 2027 that we're going to get a trailer for a game for 2028, 2029? Now all of a sudden, you're 6-7 years in development. You're already $100 million in the hole, so you're probably going to be $200, $300, $400 million down. Is that going to affect how this game is released? Microtransactions, all that to try and get your money back, which we've seen in this industry happens, and then those games never hit. I am very concerned, Drew, that this game is never, ever going to see the light of day because we're already 3 years in and we got nothing.
Yes, rebooting the franchise, or what we call a franchise, the game as a whole, is an issue, right? It's a major concern. $100 million already in. We in for another Concord situation, right? The game comes out and it just doesn't work. Where are we going to get into microtransactions? Where is that kind of come into play, right? Are we going to get plagued with that so they can try to recoup some of that money? Then becomes a concern. Dude, the Nemesis system should be in almost every game. I feel it. Like it would benefit so well, I think, with Assassin's Creed as one of the biggest ones. But again, completely different company. You can't do that because it's patented to Warner Brothers. What a huge loss to the rest of the industry. Somebody needs to manipulate that around to make it for other games. Nemesis system, by far the coolest thing that could come to Wonder Woman. Very curious how that's going to play in. Dude, I'm not a DC guy at the end of the day. The only reason why I know half the DC characters is because of Injustice. right?
Yeah.
You can take another realm for that. I think a lot of us came on board. Oh, that was cool. That's a cool character. That's a cool character. And what you got into that way. So very curious how that system does play out. Will that play out? The fact that so Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy launched, right, in 2023. Huge success. The biggest game, I'm pretty sure it's 2023, right? It wasn't last year.
That sounds right. It's got to be 23.
Yeah. It was massive. One of the biggest successes Warner Brothers has ever had. It was their most successful IP, and yet they didn't bring in Quidditch to that. They even had a whole spot where, like, yeah, no, we banned it within the game, right? Like, you go in and you talk to one of the teachers and, like, no, this is no longer available. We can't do this here. This has been banned by the board. Interesting. Why? Because they're making this. And that flopped. Like, you put it out on its own. And granted, probably not too many people would have played it in Hogwarts Legacy because of everything else that was in that game. Dude, that game is an incredible game. What a wonderful piece of art. That flops. Multiverses, what a weird circumstance for that, right? Because that one comes out into early access. People are like, yo, have you played this? And then it died in a hurry. They take it off the shelf, more or less. We're reworking it, relaunch it a year later, and it still flops. It's because nobody cares about any of those characters, dude. Like, nobody cared. Weird circumstances are coming out of Warner Brothers. Now they're going, Rocksteady has to go back to Batman because they need to pick up a win somehow, some way, right? Coming off the Suicide Squad, major flop there, which, again, nobody wanted. Dude, nobody wanted that game. Warner Brothers they are doing this trend chasing thing. It is sinking their game division. They need someone in there who can figure this out and put them back where they were at the time when Harry Potter and the Hogwarts Legacy launched, when the Batman Arkham series was at its highs, right? Maybe don't make a Batman game. Make something else, not a Suicide Squad. Don't make a DC game, dude. That's your problem. You're being pigeonholed into a DC. That is an issue because Marvel fans, I would argue, are much bigger. There's a more beloved IP over there. Granted, don't come at me because there's a lot of love there for DC as well. But I think there's just a different genre, different taste, different flavors, and Marvel seems to be on top more than what DC does. But at the end of the day, how do they come back? Is Wonder Woman going to be able to pull that Arkham feel that we've all wanted for so long now that we haven't had? Is that going to replace that? We are getting the Batman game, but again, are we getting... Let me ask you this then, Michael. Final question. Will we get Batman and Wonder Woman in the same year?
I don't think we're going to get Wonder Woman. I truly don't believe that game will launch. I think we'll get Batman. I think it's going to come down to Warner Brothers is going to probably have to pick. They're both going to have to spend so much money, and I think they're going to say Rocksteady at least has a proven track record. I think we're going to get Batman. I think it's going to be a next generation title. That tells you how long I think it's going to be. And I don't think we're going to get Wonder Woman at all. I think we're going to get a report 2027, 2028, Drew. We'll cover it if we're still here, and it's going to be Wonder Woman spent $400 million, and they canned it, and because that just seems the way Warner Brothers has been going.